What's up, beautiful souls? It's Dr. Lee here, and I'm actually super excited to invite you to what for me has been the safest, most consistent, most powerful way to connect with your multi-dimensional self in a safe retreat setting. I'm telling you guys, the ceremonies are getting more and more powerful. People are being liberated. Souls are starting to remember who they are. Families are being healed. And this is one of my greatest joys to offer this to whoever feels called. It's a sacred contract that I call the Heart Protocol. It's a 4 to 6 hour ceremonial experience in a retreat setting where you can connect to your higher self and you can record it into a recording if you decide to speak, and bring back a multi-dimensional soul transcript which can help catalyze you onto a higher timeline, into a higher frequency, and ultimately a higher destiny. For those who feel the call, check out www.transcendencementalhealth.com and click begin your journey to schedule a free 15-minute call to see if you are a good fit for the Heart Protocol. Unite an army of love, create heaven on earth. If you feel the call, would love to see you at an upcoming retreat. Peace. Merry Christmas. Christmas. Beautiful, beautiful souls. I'm just going to set the frequency here. Got a special gift that I want to transmit through and read through today for each one of us on this beautiful sacred holy day season. So by the love of original eternal source, we are setting a barrier now, the frequency of love on the physical, emotional, mental, spiritual plane around this podcast. By the truth of original eternal source consciousness field, we stand. The truth will set us free, and we are free indeed. We are free, we are free, we are free. So we set a barrier now, the frequency of freedom and truth. Sanctify these lips that I might speak truth. By the power of original eternal source, we fly. By the way of eternal source go I. By the grace of original eternal source, and now sanctify and renew this podcast episode is under the divine protector of the original eternal life founders races, Melchizedek, Cloister, Emerald Order, for the highest good, joy, and abundance for each and every single person who has gathered here today and is listening to these words. We give gratitude in advance. Thy kingdom come. Thy will is now being done on earth as it is in the highest heavens. Taisha into Doe, Taisha into Doe, Taisha into Doe. Spoken as it is stated, so it is done. Rasha Ira Christos. You're on this podcast now. Yeah, so I first heard this story, which was transcribed through by Ashiana Dean. It's called The Real Christmas Story. And it blew away all my paradigms, and I listened to it like 3 times. So for those who resonate, I wanted to bring this forward because I think it's important to understand and different perspectives of what these holy days really are. And according to the eternal life perspective, the Melchizedek Cloister Emerald Order perspective, transcribed through by Ashiana Dean, as translated from plate 6 of the Emerald Covenant CDT plate recorder discs, small silver disc CDT plates, which contains the true history of Mother Earth, of the angelic human, and of the seedings, the true science of source, the spiritual ascension mechanics, right? And so part of that on plate number 6 was the real Christmas story. And when I heard this, it was, such a beautiful perspective for me to consider. So as always, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. But this is directly translated from the Emerald Covenant CDT plate holographic disc historical records. To set the record straight, what can we rediscover about the true sacred meaning of the accurate dates of the holy days and this true story of baby Jesus? Review of the real Christmas story also provides us with an interesting demonstration of how fallen angelic and Illuminati races have drawn certain elements of genuine historical and spiritual fact, then twisted, edited, and contrived these selected facts into half-truths, used to propagate and sustain religious political control dogmas. So you see it's 80% truth, 20% distortion. And that 20% distortion is distorted on purpose by fallen angelics to distort the truth into some type of a controlled dogma. But this is called the freedom teachings because the truth will set you free. And we are free, we are free, we are free. And so such revelation allows us to more easily separate the shaft from the grain, or make conscious discernment between truth and maliciously intended fiction. So as I always say, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. In the review of the real Christmas story, we also come to understand the real holy days related to Christmas period as traditionally celebrated by Emerald Covenant MCEO races. So the celebration of these holy days and their associated traditional spiritual practices long upheld by the Eoni priest of inner earth, will be those officially recognized and sanctified as days of spiritual significance celebrated by the Azurite MCEO. Christmas is not only a celebration symbolizing the birth of Jesus, it is the celebration of eternal life and the promise of the Christos awakening. And the inner Christos reclamation mission is on, like Donkey Kong. All right, so here we go. The real Christmas story as translated from plate 6 of the Emerald Covenant CDT plate recorder disc. Shout out former speaker number 1, Ashana Dean, for translating this through from CDT plate number 6. The birth of an avatar. Long ago, on November 22nd, 12 BC, a child was born of natural conception to Melchizedek cloister Essenes, Judy, and Johias in the private dwelling of Ben-Yumin, later mistranslated as Benjamin, on the outskirts of the city of Bethlehem in the land known as Israel. The infant's father, Johias, was a Hebrew cloister Essene Melchizedek Rabbani, which is a second-level Melchizedek cloister ordinate priest. Remember, there's 6 levels. Descendant from the house of King Solomon, son of King David. Solomon was the son of Father King David of the Hyksos, Leviathan, Moses, Abraham, Noah, Knights, Templar, Illuminati line, and Mother Bathsheba, a Ceres Egyptian Essene of the Melchizedek cloister Indigo Magi Grail line. The Indigo Grail line was carried into the Hyksos Illuminati line through conception of Solomon for the purpose of attempted Emerald Covenant redemption contract bioregenesis of the fallen hybrid Hyksos lineage. So the Hyksos lineage oftentimes is what the Bible refers to as the Jews. They were actually the Hyksos, Hyksos. This race redemption contract later failed in 27 AD when the Hyksos and their Palladian, Nibirian, Anunnaki sponsors fully withdrew from the Emerald Covenant to re-enter the Atlantean Luciferian Covenant. Both Indigo and Hyksos lines directly descended from Atlantis. Judai, the infant's mother, was a Hebrew Essene Melchizedek cloister regent. So Judai, the infant's mother, Hebrew Essene Melchizedek cloister regent, 3rd level Melchizedek cloister ordinate priest, descendant from the house of Constantine. Judy's father, Raviticus, was of Roman Constantinus, Ionatu, Attila, human tribe 5. Descent mother Hebranon was of Hebrew Essene Melchizedek cloister Indigo Grail line descent. Most of this lineage fell to Omicron Draconian control following the 27 AD Essene divide. The Essene, Jesus was an Essene, right? There was a divide that happened in 27 AD. The house of Johias was located in the city in Bethlehem Commons just after conception, when the couple was showed in a vision that Judy was with Avatar child. Johias took Judy into hiding in Jerusalem. where she remained with Essene Melchizedek cloister relatives until just prior to the infant's birth. Judy was exiled to Jerusalem during her time of waiting to prevent the Sadducees and Pharisees, Illuminati, overseeing Bethlehem from discovering the prophesied avatar birth. The Sadducees were Necromaton and Drami sponsored Thousand King Leviathan Illuminati line that raided Hebrew Tribe 2 Indigo Grail line. The Pharisees were an Omicron Draconian sponsored Dragon King. The Pharisees, I don't want to be a Pharisee, 'cause they're not fair, you see. The Pharisees were an Omicron Draconian sponsored Dragon King Leviathan Illuminati line that raided Hebrew Cloister Tribe 2 line. So you see all these things in the Bible start making sense. The Pharisees and the Sadducees raided Hebrew Cloister Tribe 2 lines. Judah returned to the house of Benjamin on the outskirts of Bethlehem on November 16th, 12 BC, riding by night upon a donkey provided by her 11-year-old escort Emmanuel, son of Benjamin. Judy remained in hiding in the house of Benjamin until the birth of the Avatar child. The Avatar child was born on November 22nd, 12 BC at 12:14 a.m. November 22nd, 12 BC at 12:14 a.m. Attended by Saradi, half-sister of Judai and wife of Benjamin, Mary Jedra, daughter of Saradi and Benjamin, Emmanuel, brother of Mary Jedra, and the Melchizedek cloister high priest that became known as John the Baptist were present. The Coptic Trinity, the Christos seeding mission, and the 1212. Prior to physical birth, the Indigo child type 1, Avatar Essene infant, and his Essene Avatar twin, Marahari, later changed to Mary. Marahari were, like John the Baptist and his Avatar twin, Mary Jedra, an Indian Essene, Emmanuel, and his Avatar twin, Ashridari. Before them, Melchizedek cloister Ekars. 48-strand DNA template, level 6 Melchizedek cloister ordinate ascended masters. Like all Magi Indigo Grail line incarnates before and after them, all were born as members of Melchizedek cloister ecotic twin consummate pairs through the Sirius B Maharaji Council of Azure Line Halls of Amaria Passage. One DNA activated ecotic twin consummate pair represents one fully incarnate Akari. So the twin pair represents a fully incarnate Akari. The birth of Judai's Avatar child on November 22nd, 12 BC, and earlier his female Avatar aquatic twin Marahari on June 21, 13 BC, both earlier prophesied by John the Baptist, represented the earthly incarnation of the third Akari in the Emerald Order Ascended Master Trinity. The three Akaris, or three aquatic twin pairs, incarnated together at this time as they had done before since failure of the 22,326 BC stellar activation cycle to complete a portion of the Emerald Covenant Founders Planetary Christos realignment mission in preparation for the scheduled stellar activation cycle of 2000 to 2017 AD. So these twin pairs kept reincarnating together to prepare for the stellar activation cycle, which is a 17-year period where the stargates open and whoever controls the stargates controls Mother Earth. And the inner Christos realignment mission is to reclaim the stargates and to send in the inner Christos frequencies so that Mother Earth can ascend into her natural, gradually into her Christos self, right? So each of these 6 Ekars carried the Araya Azurta Tribe 12 DNA template coding from Tribe 12. So when you activate tribe 12, it sends frequencies from 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, all the way down from 12 down. So they were from the 6 Ekars were from Araya Azurta Tribe 12 DNA template coding from their previous Tribe 12 incarnations in Atlantis and Lemuria. The first Akari twin player, John the Baptist and Mary Jedra, collectively carried the mathematical programs of the Tri-Veka, Ku-Veka, Da-Veka, and Ra-Veka high Veka codes in their Akkadic twin DNA templates. So they carry codes in their DNA templates, which they are commissioned to put into the core of Mother Earth to restore the potentiality for humanity to ascend. John the Baptist, known as Jonas, the Greek form of John, was born in Rome on December 21, 46 BC to Greek Roman father Pagenthuius, descendant from the Roman house of Romulus tribe 5, Indigo Grail line, and mother Miriam of the Hebrew Essene Melchizedek cloister tribe 2, Indigo Grail line, exiled on Paxos Island, Greece. Mary Jedra, daughter of Judy's paternal half-sister Saradi, was born in Jerusalem on September 1, 34 BC to Melchizedek cloister Essene Ceres, Egyptian tribe 4, Indigo Grail line father Ben Yumin, and Indian Essene Roman mother Saradi, of father Raviticus of Roman Constantinus, Ionatu Attila tribe 5, Indigo Grail line descent, and mother Impatil of Ramavita tribe 6, Indigo Grail line, India. So when these Ekars are born, they carry codes for humanity on commission, and they're born from specific parents because of their DNA coding and because of the Grail and tribe line they're from in accordance to their mission. So it's not an accident. It's on purpose because Source has a plan. The second Akari twin pair, Emmanuel and Asridari, collectively carried the Akasha Crown Veka code in their Akkadic twin DNA templates. Emmanuel was born in Bethlehem on January 1, 23 BC as Mary Jedra's younger brother to Ben Yumin and Saradi. Asridari was born in the Thar Desert region of India on February 2, 14 BC to father Vijuga Ramyana and mother Daridres Ramkajunananda of the Indian Ramavita tribe 6 Indigo Grail line. So remember the language to activate the potential intron DNA, the Triveca codes, which I was also instructed to drop into Montségur, France, Stargate 12 about 2 years ago, is these codes are necessary to activate the shield. And so the 144,000 carries specific codes that needs to be, if you want to say, activate Mother Earth so that Mother Earth can ascend, because it's intimately connected. Mother Earth and her children are intimately connected. And the Indigo children, as well as the oncoming Rainbow children, are on contract and carry specific codes, and Source has a plan. And so there's specific sound tones in the original light language, Anuhazimua, which can be sung to activate the key codes, such as the high Veka codes we just talked about that John the Baptist was carrying, right? And this is in the online program, the 12-strand DNA activation program in the school community. The three Akari, 3 males and 3 males, forming 3 Akkadic twin pairs, incarnated together as an Akkatic trinity under the Elohai Elohim, Christos Founders Emerald Covenant Commission. Their shared purpose was to reimplant or reseed the Veka Code mathematical programs into Earth's planetary shields in preparation for the 2000 AD to 2017 AD activation of the 4 faces of man L-pin system from 22,326 BC. So there's grids on Mother Earth that they were commissioned to activate. The 3 Akari were grid workers. The 3 Akari were the primary frequency carriers of the 144,000 incarnate Grail line Indigos who were collectively serving as appointed EOMC guardians of Earth's Templar during the Christ period. Since the Ioni massacre of the failed 22,326 BC stellar activation cycle, these three Akaris, whom had headed the failed Christos realignment mission of 22,326 BC, had agreed to repeatedly incarnate thereafter until the intended December 21, 2012 AD completion of the Christos realignment mission. So these three Akari twins had made an agreement from the last stellar activation cycle, 22,326 BC, which was not successful, that they would continue to reincarnate over this period to reestablish the potential for ascension for humanity, and they continue to reincarnate together in the Atlantean times, the Lemurian times, the Christ timeline. And this is the story of their Christ timeline. Through their repeated incarnations as a set of three Akkadic twin pairs, the high Vecca code Trion Mage field programs would be progressively re-entered into Earth's grids through dispensation of the high Vecca codes via the Akar DNA templates during their numerous lifetimes. So all the lifetimes are connected, simultaneous time. They're continuously dropping in these codes. And for many of us, we feel and know that this is the lifetime a lot of us have waited for. The Akari serve to anchor the high Vecca frequencies into Earth's Templar and transmit them into the DNA templates of the 144,000 Team Indigo incarnates. Team Indigo incarnates then downstep the high Vecca frequencies and transmit them into the DNA templates, tribal shield level of the angelic human 12 tribe races. That's really important. So the Akari serve to anchor the high Vecca frequencies, remember the three Akaris, into Earth's Templar and transmit them into the DNA templates of the 144,000 Team Indigo incarnates. So the Akari were transmitting, whether remotely or in person, their codes not only into the core of Mother Earth, but into the 144,000 volunteers, Indigos, who would then, Team Indigo incarnates then would downstep the high Vecca codes, frequencies, and transmit them into the DNA templates of the angelic human 12 tribe races, which is key coded for certain stargates, depending on what tribe each and every single 140 part of the 144,000 is. Through repeated incarnations of the Akaris and their Indigo Grey Line team, the high Vecca code programs corresponding to the planetary Templar of Earth, Inner Earth, and Parallel Earth would reach critical mass, imprinting in Earth's Templar stargates and the human race morphogenetic field. Once the high Vecca code programs were reseeded into Earth's Templar, the L-pin and A-pin systems of the Ioni, Elohai Elohim, Seraphai Seraphim, and Braharama Christos founders races would be activated during the next stellar activation cycle, which was 2000 to 2017. Activation of the Ioni's four faces of men, L-pin and Elohai's great white lion, the Seraphai's golden eagle, and the Braharama's blue oxen A-pin systems during the next stellar activation cycle would allow for the 2000 AD to 2017 AD Christos awakening on Earth, and Earth's final fulfillment of the planetary Christos realignment mission, planetary Maharic Seal, and planetary Mahunta Merkaba. So Earth's ascension. The female Ekars carried the base magnetic, and the male Ekars the base electrical portions of the Tri-Ku-Da-Ra Akasha high Vecca codes to which they were commissioned. So the female carried the magnetic, the male Ekars carried the electric, and that's why magnetic attracts electric, but it's not just for sacred energy exchange, it's for a higher divine union purpose, which they carry together. They carry codes, Tri-Ku-Da-Ra and Akasha high Vecca codes to which they were commissioned, a sacred commission. Together, sacred union couples are commissioned. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't, to drop them codes, get them codes through sacred energy exchange, and drop them codes. No higher calling. The full D12 by Vecca code was carried for the liberation of all sentient beings and the ascension of Mother Earth and the inner Christos reclamation mission. What more could you ask for? The full D12 Biveka code was carried by both male and female Akars assigned to its commission. The high Veka code programs would enter Earth's planetary shields from the DNA templates of the Akars when each Akar received their equivalent level of Melchizedek cloister ordination and resultant corresponding DNA template activation from the inner Earth Iani priests of And I received mine February 26, 2022. The twin pair and what you have, you can share. The twin pair carrying the Akasha Crown Veka required full level 6 MC Ekar ordination and temporary activation of the 48 strands of their DNA templates. In order to transmit the Akasha code, which is the planetary god seed, into Earth's Templar, the twin pair carrying the primal light and sound field, Trion, Mahi, High Vekas. Remember, primal light and primal sound, when someone embodies their primal light, primal sound, they are the Ascended Master Collective, right? Which is the Trion, Mahi, High Vekas, the Tri, Rock, Da, and Ku Veka codes also required level 6 Akar ordination and temporary activation of their 48-strand DNA templates. The twin pair carrying the D12 Prematter Christos Divine Blueprint by Veka code required level 3 region ordination only, through which only 12 of their 48-strand DNA templates would be brought into activation to release the D12 Biveka code program. So the Biveka code, some of you might know it as, the 2 circles interlocked. The Triveka code is the 3 circles interlocked, right? So for 3 circles, Triveka code, you require 48-strand DNA activation. For Biveka code, you require, as it says here, level 3 region ordination and 12 of the 48-strand DNA template. The Biveka code is the high Veka code through which the D12 Maharata Christos liquid light primal life force current can run into Earth's Templar as the carrier wave for the higher frequency primal light and sound currents associated with the high Veka codes above it. So the D12 liquid light is the carrier. It's the D12 carries, is the carrier frequency for the higher frequencies. And that's why, spiritual traditions talk about the silver cord that connects us to the core of Mother Earth, right? A lot of spiritual traditions talk about this. So the wisdom continuously reinforces itself, is what I found. Through the third Ekar pair would only activate their DNA templates to the 12-strand level to become MC regents. Their mission was equally as essential as their Ascended Master status, equal to the first and second Ekar twin players. With 48-strand DNA template activation, the 3 Akaric twin pairs function as an interdependent team. All equal. Different roles, different missions. Since D12 frequency cannot run through Earth's planetary shield since the fall of Brunel in 208,216 BC, the Ekar twin pairs could not receive their required level of DNA template activation and Melchizedek cloister ordination on surface Earth, as D12 frequency was necessary to initiate these DNA template activations. Therefore, at different times, each of the 6 Ekar avatars, comprising the 3 Akari Akaric twin pairs, were to be individually brought to the Ark of the Covenant Andromeda portal passage, which anchored into Earth's Templar at planetary Stargate 4, Giza, Egypt, to receive their DNA template activations. So Earth couldn't hold at that time the D12 frequency, right? And so they had to be taken to Egypt, Stargate number 4, Giza, to activate through the Ark of the Covenant Andromeda portal passage. Remember, the Ark of the Covenant, was able to open up a portal all the way to Andromeda, Universal Stargate number 9369, right? And if you can open up that portal, you can receive the frequencies necessary for DNA template activation. And some of those are probably, how can I say, like, all these people who go to Giza, Egypt, and they lay in the sarcophagus, or they go to the king's chamber, right? because time is simultaneous. At a certain angular rotation of particle spin and particle pulsation rhythm, it's happening right now. And you are who you've been looking for. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. In a ceremony, a couple of years ago, and these things that I'm talking about are not just stuff that I'm reading. There was a ceremony where people were saying the arc is sparked, and we'll see how it all flows. I think that the key here is just to stay in alignment with love and to keep your channels clear and listen. While positioned within the Ark of the Covenant passage, D12 frequency could be drawn from the D12 Amareya passage to activate the DNA template. From the Ark of the Covenant passage, the dormant High Vecca code programs held by the avatars could be transmitted into Earth's Templar. The High Vecca code programs would be projected into Earth's planetary shields from the Ark of the Covenant at Giza to Stargate 12 and Q-Site 12. France is Stargate 12, Montsegur, France. Q-Site 12, which activates the Stargate, is Lemuria, Kauai, Hawaii in Earth's Templar. So they were doing a direct transmission from Egypt to Stargate 12, Q-Site 12 at the 1212 sites. The High Vecca codes are the keys to the kingdom of heaven. They unlock the keys to the kingdom of heaven. Kingdom, queendom, the 3, 6, 9, 12 keys. The first heaven, the second heaven, the third heaven, the fourth heaven. They come in threes. Dimension 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. So at the 1212 sites, the High Vecca codes could be held dormant until they could activate on a D12 12 code pulse. As the 2000 AD to 2017 AD stellar activation cycle commenced, at which time they would be directed through Earth's Templar via sacred roundtable mechanics to activate the four faces of man, L-pin, and founders A-pin systems, grid lines. The Christ period drama is known as the Christos seeding mission by Emerald Covenant races. The founders intended fulfillment of two objectives during this period of Earth time. The first objective was to reseed the High Vecca mathematical programs into Earth's Templar through the commissioned births and temporary DNA template activation of the 6 Akars. This objective was fulfilled during the 46 BC to 37 AD Christ period. Beautiful. The Christ period stalemate and the 1111. The founders' second intended objective in the Christ period drama was to release the Nibirian Anunnaki's forced hold over Earth by disengaging the connection between the Nibirian Diotic crystal grid at Stonehenge, England, and the Nibirian battlestar Wormwood. Since 22,326 BC, Anunnaki races had been using the Nibirian Diotic crystal grid checkerboard matrix to erode the original High Vecca code programs in Earth's planetary shields, which would prevent activation of the Emerald Covenant L-pin, A-pin systems needed to fulfillment of the Christos realignment mission. So, a certain fallen Anunnaki races through Stonehenge, the massive stones in Stonehenge, from Nibiru were sent, Nibiru, which are earthly scientists have not discovered, which is a planet in our solar system. We're sending pulse frequencies through Stonehenge, through the earth of the ley lines, the brain of Mother Earth, reverse Metatronic frequencies, which are causing so much DNA checkerboard mutation is what they call it, which can be, if you want to say like, oh, if they're doing a reverse spin, it's going to scramble the human DNA, scramble the memory of the true angelic human being. It's going to scramble the cellular memory of the upper stranded DNA, the history of Atlantis, the history of Lemuria, of what really happened. And it's also going to help scramble the DNA so that angelic humans forget who they are, but we are remembering now. And so part of the mission of the Akari twins was to help disassemble the Nibirian Diotic crystal grid at Stonehenge, England. I was just there like 3 months ago dropping codes. In the Christ period, the High Vecca codes were to be reseated in Earth grids, and the ND Nibirian Diotic crystal grid program manually disengaged to prepare Earth for the coming 2000 AD, 2017 AD stellar activation and Christos realignment. Control of Nibiru fell into the hands of the Marduk, Dramin, and Necromaton, Andrami, Nephilim, Draconian agenda, Anunnaki legions in 48 BC. The opposed and repressed Nibirian and Palladian Luciferian Anunnaki races of Galactic Federation reluctantly agreed to suspend their intended Luciferian Covenant One World Order Dominion agenda to enter the Emerald Covenant if the founders would assist them in reclaiming Nibiru. The agreement included an attempted EOMC bioregenesis redemption contract for the Palladian Nibirian Earth's Hyksos Knights Templar Leviathan hybrid Illuminati race line, a 9th level avatar known as Jeshua 9. 9 means 9th level avatar. Was a D11 non-Christiac avatar of the Jehovian Anu Elohim fallen angelic collective on Emerald Covenant redemption contract, who was born in Bethlehem. So this is the biblical Jesus. A 9th level avatar known as Jeshua 9 was a D11 non-Christiac avatar of the Jehovian born in Bethlehem in 7 BC to Hyksos Mother Mary. Mother Mary comes to me. Husband of Hyksos, Joseph of Arimathea, Nephilim father Isaiah. Jeshua 9 was intended as the genetic carrier of the EOMC host matrix for the Hyksos Illuminati Anunnaki hybrid races of Earth. So Jeshua 9 was born on a contract to help bioregenesis redemption contract for the Palladian Nibirians earthly Hyksos Knights Templar. So the Hyksos, remember, are mistakenly called the Jews in the Bible. They were the Hyksos. So he came to help their DNA, fallen DNA of the fallen Anunnaki and Hyksos, reassemble and return into eternal life potential. The 6 Emerald Covenant EOMC Ekars of the Christ period were intended to reclaim the gold Ark of the Covenant box containing the rod and the staff Stargate tools from its burial place in Saqqara, Egypt. So whoever controls the Stargates controls the flow of information, controls Earth, in and out of Mother Earth, right? Stargates are frequency modulating zones in and out of Mother Earth, right? And so all these ET visitations in Egypt, all right? And so thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. The rod and the staff were Stargate opening tools, and the 6 Emerald Covenant EOMC Ekars of the Christ period, one of their missions was to reclaim the gold Ark of the Covenant box containing the staff Stargate tools. So it all starts making sense. From its burial place in Saqqara, Egypt. The Palladian Nibirian races agreed to return to the Ekar CDT Plate 11 that had been stolen by Thoth. I'll repeat that. The Palladian Nibirian races agreed to return to the Ekars they had stolen CDT Plate 11 that had been stolen by Thoth in 22,340 BC and hidden among Hyksos Knights Templar families in Greece during Thoth's Hermes period. So Thoth stole CDT Plate 11, wrote the books that he wrote, and took credit, but it actually comes from CDT Plate 11. And the true message is you are who you've been looking for. Don't look to Thoth. Don't look to me. Look within, into your intron potential DNA. The morphogenetic field for your 12-strand DNA activation is present within your intron potential DNA. Scientists used to call junk. You are who you've been looking for. You are the angel. You are the inner Christos. And you shall do even greater things than me. So, in fulfillment of the Christos seeding mission, the rod, staff, CDT Plate 11, and Shield 11 Stargate tools were to be brought to Q Site 11, Ireland, in 12 AD by the Ekars via the Inner Earth portals Q Site 11 and its corresponding Stargate 11 in England, the 1111 site, would be manually activated using the Stargate tools to disengage the NDC grid and checkerboard matrix grid program that was embedded in the 1111 accidental ley lines via Stonehenge. So, I just want to reiterate these things that I'm reading. It's simultaneous time, which means in a ceremony I just facilitated not too long ago in Austin, right? I'm not, Tribe 11, Tribe 11. A sister hits me up and says, Tribe 11, Tribe 11, 1111. This was part of the Ekar's mission, which was not successful during that time period, but it's simultaneous time. And this is the lifetime many of us have waited for. the 1111 activation, axial tonal line. Remember, Q site 11 is in Ireland, and Stargate 11 is in England, Bella Pusey, England. So it's all connected underneath the Earth. You see? If you activate certain Q sites, it'll activate the Stargate. If the Palladian, Nibirian, Anunnaki, and Galactic Federation had not betrayed the founders between 10 AD, 27 AD, when they made counter agreements with the Draconian Anunnaki and Necromaton, Andromi, Nephilim races of Nibiru, the 6 EOMC Akars would have traveled to Q Site 11, Ireland, to disengage the NDC grid in December 12 AD. This was finally accomplished in July 2001. 3 of the Christ period EOMC Ekars were intended to serve as Emerald Covenant speakers, offering Emerald Covenant entry and Melchizedek Cloister baptism, and were needed redemption contracts to the public. Those accepting Melchizedek Cloister baptism and redemption contracts would have the DNA template activation levels necessary for temporary evacuation into inner Earth, which would be needed for protection from the Earth changes that would result from the intended 12 AD disengagement of the NDC grid. In 10 AD, Palladian Nibirian races of Galactic Federation entered deals with the Marduk, Brahmin, Anunnaki, and Necromaton Andromi races controlling Nibiru, pulling out of their Emerald Covenant peace agreements. So after J9, 9th level Avatar, was born, unfortunately, his cosmic ancestors pulled out of the agreement that they had made, the rehabilitation agreement. The 6 EOMC Akars were unable to fulfill the second objective of the Christos seeding mission, as the Anunnaki guided their Hyksos Illuminati races to relocate the hiding place in which the stolen CDT Plate 11 was kept. Without the CDT Plate 11 shield activator disk, the EOMC Ekars could not manually activate Stargate 11 to release the NDC grid as Stonehenge. Galactic Federation also instructed the Hyksos Illuminati to attack Galactic Federation. For those listening, Galactic Federation instructed the Hyksos Illuminati to attack the Team Indigo Essenes, working with the 6 EOMC Ekars in an attempt to steal the Ark of the Covenant, Gold Box, and Stargate tools from them. The Anunnaki intended to use CDT Plate 11 and the Rod and the Staff tools to create pole shift, in hope of preventing activation of the High-Vecca codes in Earth's Templar during the 2000 AD to 2017 AD stellar activation cycle. The Hyksos succeeded only in stealing the staff tool from the Ark box. Remember, the Hyksos are what the Bible refers to as the Jews, and so could not fulfill their intended dominion agenda during the Christ period. The King Arthur drama of 609 AD was a continuation of this stalemate, through which, again, incarnate EOMC Ekars made headway in preparing for the 2000 AD to 2017 AD stellar activation Christos realignment. The sword Excalibur was the staff tool which King Arthur's Team Indigo reclaimed from the Hyksos descended Illuminati races. The sword Excalibur was a staff tool, Rod and the Staff, Stargate opening tools, which King Arthur's Team Indigo reclaimed from the Hyksos descended Illuminati races. The real Christmas story is the story of the Akashic Trinity of 46 BC to 37 AD, the EOMC Team Indigo and their Akari twins, Akari avatars, and their collective efforts to fulfill the planetary Christos seeding mission in order to prepare Earth's Templar for the final Christos realignment mission of 2000 AD to 2017 AD. The real Christmas story is the story of Akashic Trinity of 46 BC to 37 AD, the EOMC, Melchizedek Cloister Team Indigo, and their Akari avatars, and their collective efforts to fulfill the planetary Christos seeding mission in order to prepare Earth's Templar for the final Christos realignment mission of 2000 AD to 2017 AD, the coming of Jeshua 12. On November 22nd, 12 BC, at 12:14 a.m., Judai gave birth to a male avatar infant in the house of Benjamin on the outskirts of Bethlehem. Saradie, Judy's half-sister by common Roman father Raviticus, and Mary Jedra Akari I, Saradie's 22-year-old daughter, served as midwives in the birth. Love that, midwives. Upon the infant's arrival, John the Baptist Akari I, then aged 33, and known by his Greek name Ioannis, with the assistance of 11-year-old Emmanuel Akari II, presided in the initiation rites of the infant's EOMC conjugate baptism. On November 22nd, 12 BC, Ioannis and Emmanuel prepared the infant's body for integration of its Akari III identity, which would occur 1 month later in fulfillment of the MC conjugate baptism and regent ordination. Upon his physical Melchizedek cloister initiation, the infant child was named Jeshua, the original Jeshua, a name chosen by his father Johias. The original ancient Hebrew alphabet of Atlantis once contained the letter equivalent of J, which was lost in Hebrew tradition when the Omicron Draconian-sponsored Pharisees Illuminati removed 6 key letters from the Hebrew alphabet. Following the 25,500 BC Luciferian rebellion, Melchizedek cloister Eoni races retained these letters in their tradition through their open contact with the Eoni priests of from inner earth. In original MC records, the Hebrew letter J was frequently used, whereas in compromised ancient Hebrew texts, the Hebrew letter corresponding to Y was substituted. That's why they call it Yeshua. But originally it was Jeshua. The Atlantean alphabet, before it was distorted, contained J, Jeshua. Illuminati records refer to Jeshua as Yeshua. Illuminati records refer to Jeshua as Yeshua. Jeshua and his mother Judai remained in hiding at the house of Ben-Yumin on the outskirts of Bethlehem until December 2012 BC, when they made the journey to the house of Johias in Bethlehem City Commons for completion of Jeshua's MC conjugate baptism on December 21, 12 BC winter solstice. As is the case in all Indigo type 1 and 2 births, the soul of Ekar ascended master Jeshua embodied into the physical vessel through the process called soul braided walk-in. I'll repeat that. Jeshua and his mother Judai remained in hiding at the house of Ben-Yumin on the outskirts of Bethlehem until December 2012 BC, when they made the journey to the house of Johias in Bethlehem City Commons for completion of Jeshua's Melchizedek cloister conjugate baptism on December 21, 12 BC winter solstice. So baptism originally was not something that you put into the water just for fuck's sake. No, it was a DNA activation for fulfillment of a sacred inner Christos reclamation mission. As is the case in all Indigo child type 1 and type 2 births, the soul of Ekar ascended master Jeshua embodied into the physical vessel through the processes called soul braided walk-in. Indigo child soul braided walk-ins. Consciousness field of Indigo types 1 and 2 oscillates at too high a frequency to directly integrate into a physical vessel that holds anything less than a natural 12-strand DNA template activation. This is why Jesus said you can't pour new wine into old wineskin or it'll burst. Indigo children types 1 and 2 incarnate into density 1 earth physicality by entering a limited simultaneous incarnational cycle in various immortal Eoni Orphan human Christiac avatar bodies in density 2, semi-etheric matter Sirius B, Tara and inner earth and parallel Tara time cycles. And within the density 1 inner earth time cycle, simultaneously the Indigo identity enters the standard 212 cycles comprising the 1728 simultaneously incarnate identities, 1728 simultaneous selves of a Christiac angelic human avatar within densities 1 through 4 of the particle and antiparticle universes in our time matrix. So particle, antiparticle is what people call parallel universe. To begin incarnation in a density 1 earth body, the Indigo avatar first sends into the new physical vehicle for fetal integration the lowest oscillating incarnate soul identity of itself from density 2 Tara time cycle within the particle Earth incarnational 12 cycle. Fetal integration of the soul usually takes place between the 33rd to 56th days following conception of the physical zygote. So before, it's the parent's light body that's given it energy, and from 33 to 56, the incoming soul, the lowest oscillating incarnate soul identity, embodies from day 33 to 56. Fetal integration cannot occur, and if there's a frequency mismatch, it's what's called a miscarriage. Fetal integration cannot occur at conception or before the 33rd day thereafter, as the oscillation rate of the energetic frequency that carries the consciousness is too fast and would destroy the scalar wave template of the zygote's matter form, resulting in miscarriage. In indigo children types 1 and 2 births, the density 2 soul from Tara integrates into the embryo and remains as the active soul in the body throughout birth and until the DNA template activates sufficiently to hold the faster oscillating Orphan Iani avatar soul. And so I just want to make a quick sacred pause here. So why is it important to cleanse the physical vessel? It's the temple that holds the soul, and the soul cannot fully embody until the physical vessel is capable of holding the soul, the avatar inner Christos self. And so that's why like breath work, cleanses, detoxes, exercise, eating clean, early morning sunshine, all of these things are so important because the physical vessel is the temple that holds the soul. The soul wants to incarnate, but it cannot until it's capable of holding it through a frequency match. The birth soul remains with the body, and the avatar soul remains in D4 through D6 biofield, overshadow, connected to the body with partly activated 6 DNA strand template unless early activation of the infant's DNA template is orchestrated by Iani, Melchizedek Cloister Master Priest of Ur. When the body reaches the chronological age of 12 years, and if the bioenergetic field and DNA template of the incarnate soul remains clear and not compromised, the incarnating avatar works with its counterparts to Inner Earth and Sirius B to initiate Christiac avatar integration DNA template activations. When the 12-strand DNA template is initiated into activation via level 3 MC region ordination, the birth soul and Iani Indigo avatar identities prepare for a soul-braided walk-in. You guys get it? Age of 12, bar mitzvah. Where do these traditions actually come from? Rites of passage. I'm going to repeat this. When the body reaches the chronological age of 12, and if the bioenergetic field, DNA template of the incarnate soul remains clear and not compromised, the incarnating avatar works with its counterparts in Inner Earth and Sirius B to initiate Christiac avatar integration DNA template activation. When the 12-strand DNA template is initiated into activation via level 3 MC region ordination, the birth soul and Iani Indigo avatar identity prepares for a soul-braided walk-in. That sounds like a really cool rite of passage. To fulfill a soul-braided walk-in, the birth soul consciousness progressively raises in oscillation to the density 2 rhythm. Simultaneously, the D12 Christiac avatar identity aspects stationed in Inner Earth and density 2 Sirius B lower their oscillation rhythm to that of density 1. Over the course of usually 2 to 7 years, or rarely within a 12-day period after region ordination, the birth soul disengages from the lower 3 strands of the DNA template, as usually occurs in biological death. NDE. The consciousness passes into the D4 astral body field, awaiting ascension to density 2. Simultaneously and in synchronistic manner, the Inner Earth and Sirius B identity aspects of the Iani avatar transmute their bodies into density 5 antimatter primal light then lower their oscillation to D4 astral field rhythm. In the D4 astral field of the incarnate body, which is the heart chakra, color green, the Christiac avatar braids together its inner earth and Sirius B aspects of consciousness and memory imprint. Then begins Christiac avatar embodiment in the density 1 earth body by progressively merging its consciousness with DNA strand templates 1 through 12. It's called the soul braided walk-in, which also sometimes can happen during an NDE, near-death experience. As the birth soul walks out to the D4 astral field, the Christiac avatar identity walks into physical embodiment, releasing the birth soul from the body's karmic miasmic imprint. Released from its karmic imprint, the birth soul takes an evolutionary leap, accelerating in frequency to merge its consciousness with the aspect of itself stationed one lifetime ahead of the original Taran incarnation from which it entered density 1 fetal integration. The Christiac avatar identity, now intertwined with and responsible for the DNA template of the density 1 physical body, proceeds to clear any remaining miasmic imprint from the body, which is karma trauma, while sequentially bringing into sustained activation the first 12 DNA strand template of the Indigo genome for full Christiac avatar embodiment. Once the body can hold at least temporary sustained 12-strand DNA template activation, the Christiac avatar will then begin activation of the 24 to 48 strands of its Indigo Iani DNA template if its specific Emerald Covenant Service Commission requires it to do so. Hallelujah. That's good news. I like that. Yeah, that's great. Once the body can hold at least temporary sustained 12-strand DNA template activation, the Christiac avatar will then begin activation of the 24 to 48 strands of its Indigo Iani DNA template if its specific Emerald Covenant Service Commission requires it to do so. Once again, these things are being confirmed in my hologram. They're not just words that I'm speaking or reading. They're being confirmed in my hologram. The soul birth of Jeshua and the Three Kings, Night of the Trinity, Winter Solstice, True History of Winter Solstice, December 21, 12 BC. On the evening of December 20, 12 BC, Johias left his house in Bethlehem City Commons, traveling to the house of Ben-Yumin on the outskirts of Bethlehem to escort Judy and baby Yeshua from their hiding place back to their home in Bethlehem City. The trio traveled through the night by donkey to avoid detection by the Illuminati Pharisees and Sadducees and the guard of King Herod of Judea, all of whom sought to discover the whereabouts of and to kill the new avatar rumored to have been recently born. Johias, Judai, and baby Jeshua arrived safely at the house of Johias before dawn on December 21, 12 BC. It was necessary for baby Jeshua to be relocated to the house of his father, Johias, by evening of December 21, 12 BC, as this was to be the night of the Avatar's soul birth. Akari, John the Baptist, and 3 male Melchizedek cloister regent Magi Grail King priests from the other lands were scheduled to serve in attendance in completing Jeshua's conjugate baptism. John the Baptist and 3 Magi Grail Kings were commissioned by the Inner Earth Iani priests of to initiate the electrical frequency transmissions of MC Regent ordination for early fulfillment of Jeshua's Indigo child soul braided walk-in. The 3 kings, a brown-skinned Ramvita Grail King from India, a yellow-skinned Yu Grail King from Tibet, Yu Melchizedek's yellow skin, and a white-skinned Ceres Egyptian Grail King from Saqqara, Egypt, were scheduled to meet John the Baptist at the house of Johias nearest the Bethlehem Inner Earth portal on the evening of December 21, 12 BC winter solstice. Each of the 3 Magi Grail Kings brought with them herbs, minerals, and sacred preparations as gifts to John the Baptist for use in Jeshua's soul-braided walk-in MC Regent ordination. The Magi of India brought a special preparation of myrrh. The Tibetan Magi brought frankincense, and the Egyptian Magi brought a highly coveted elixir made from an ancient Atlantean Ceres Egyptian recipe. the most coveted and potentially dangerous potion of all that was made from the collected residue of the transient element celestaline, the liquid excreted through the skin during activation of turnstile DNA in the human atomic transmutation process associated with Stargate Passage ascension. In ancient Egypt, the pure celestine residue was known as stardust blue or blue powder gold. So all those people taking like white powder gold, things like that, listen very carefully. And that's why, like, the tombs of the Egyptians were raided, right? They wanted, when someone dies, they wanted to get the celestaline, which, can activate the upper strand DNA temporarily for Stargate Passage for those who didn't have the DNA coding. So here is a little bit more about stardust blue powder celestaline. Upon contact with oxygen, liquid celestaline secretions dry to a fine powder, which rapidly breaks down into internal elemental units. Celestaline powder is a natural biochemical byproduct secreted by the body during Stargate Passage, or upon death of the physical body if the consciousness is able to achieve Stargate Ascension out of Density 1. Pure celestaline powder can be collected in minute amounts by gently dusting the skin after one has passed through a stargate and remanifested on the other side. If it is rapidly collected and specifically stored, pure celestaline powder is a powerful healing agent as it can trigger temporary bursts of 12-strand DNA template activation for anchoring an individual's D12 divine blueprint. Celestaline powder is only useful for this purpose if the planetary shields can run D12 Maharata current, which has not been the case since 208,216 BC. In rare cases of expedited indigo child soul braided walk-in, intended to commence in infancy, a minute amount of ingested pure celestaline powder plus tincture applied to the base, crown, and 12 chakras can temporarily trigger a minute burst of 12-strand DNA template activation, even on a planet void of D12 current. This effect can only be gained if the powder is collected and preserved from a planetary system capable of running D12 Maharata current and used rapidly after collection before it loses its core D12 subharmonic electrical charge. In ancient Egypt, impure celestaline powder or its aged residue was harvested from corpses or mummies whenever discovered. Impure celestine powder, known as white powder celestaline or white powder gold, was used by Illuminati pharaohs to trigger psychic powers by unnatural activation of higher strands in the DNA template. This process led to permanent disability of the lower DNA strands, physical addiction to the substance, and eventual insanity. As celestaline powder derivatives and alchemical concoctions made from elemental gold with the intention of mimicking celestaline effects were lethal and widely abused in ancient Egypt, the Iani priests of Inner Earth removed this knowledge and access to the substance from surface Earth. Use of pure celestaline powder by Grail line Melchizedek cloister priests for Melchizedek cloister ordinate applications was permitted only on rare occasions under direct supervision of the Inner Earth Iani. So this powder, when used in the eternal life system, can temporarily activate passageways for Stargate travel. The impure residue from mummies and corpses were being used and utilized for temporary psychic powers in Egypt, and so this knowledge was removed, and it's only rarely used with supervision by the Inner Earth priests. The Egyptian magi attending the avatar soul birth of infant Jeshua, and this is really important as well because there is a concept called molecular compaction. So if someone does ayahuasca 100 times or so many times, right, or plant medicine, or even the heart protocol too many times in a row, right, The key is integration. You have to integrate what was shown into your lower stranded DNA. You have to embody that into your 321 chakras, your physical body. The 321 chakras are just as important for ascension as the upper stranded DNA, but so many of us can, if not careful, get addicted to the sensation of being in the upper dimensions. Right? Which is great because the feeling is great and we feel like we're home and all these different things. But it's really important to allow time and space in between ceremonies to integrate the ceremony, to embody the ceremony. Or molecular compaction can happen, which is where the higher stranded DNA crush the lower stranded DNA, making ascension eventually impossible. So really important integration to take time and space between ceremonies.
What's up, beautiful souls? I want to shout out to the sponsor of this podcast, Practical Peptides, www.practicalpeptides.com. Unless you're living under a rock, you might have heard that there is this thing called peptides, the magic of peptides. And so they're amino acid chain proteins, which help signal to the body, which can start activating like a light switch, different systems in your body. And we're having amazing results. Now, you may have heard there's positive and negatives to everything, but there's certain people who are having certain side effects. And what our team has found is it's because most doctors are prescribing too large of a dose. But when you dose and you titrate up at the right dose, we're finding that people are having really positive effects. So some of our best sellers include GLP-1 agonists like tirzepatide, semaglutide, and people at the right dose, when they use the right small dose and they're titrating up, they're literally not only losing approximately 15% of their body weight over time, they're increasing their self-esteem. It's helping people reverse their diabetes, blood sugar. And the cool news is that you can schedule a call with Danielle, who's a peptide expert on our team, who can help decide if it's right for you, also what the right dose is. And the cool thing about Practical Peptides is our team has spent so much time and love and energy. So it's really easy. You just go to practicalpeptides.com, you search for the product that's right for you. One of my favorites is NAD, intramuscular NAD. If you guys don't know, NAD is reversing brain inflammation, helping the gut heal. And not only that, for me, it gives me clean energy every morning when I take it. So NAD is on there from a pure. And the cool thing about Practical Peptides is it's straight from the pharmacy. It's compound grade pharmacy, pure material. And you can order it directly online. And it's delivered straight to your house. And you're getting everything that you need. Is included in the package, so you can start using it straight out of the box. And we give you educational materials. So some of these peptide companies that are research-based, you don't know what's in the product. They're not giving you the educational material. We're giving you you don't have to mix it and compound. It's right there. And so if that's something that appeals to you, check out www.practicalpeptides.com. Use the code Dr. Lee. For 10% off. There's peptides that can help you get ripped and shredded. There's peptides that can help you repair your body from injury. So check it out, www.practicalpeptides.com.
The Egyptian Magi attending the avatar soul birth of infant Jeshua in 12 BC was entrusted to bring the gift of the gold, an elixir of celestaline blue powder gold, manufactured in inner earth by the Iani priests of Ur. The Iani created the blue powder gold elixir specifically for the purpose of triggering temporary 12-strand DNA template activation to orchestrate the extremely rare event of a 12-day indigo soul-braided walk-in in infant Jeshua. Akari 1, John the Baptist, had received his level 6 Akari ordination from the Iani priest on his 33rd birthday, December 21, 13 BC. December 21, John the Baptist's birthday. And was taken to the Ark of the Covenant at Giza to transmit the electrical portions of the Tri-Ku, Da, and Ra Veka codes into Earth's Templar. John's Akkadic twin, Mary Jedra, fulfilled her Akari ordination and magnetic Veka code transmission on her 22nd birthday, September 1, 12 BC. Akari 2, Emmanuel, was to receive his level 6 Akari ordination and electrical Akasha code transmission on his coming 12th birthday, January 1st, 11 BC. Emmanuel's Akaric twin Ashridari received her Akari ordination and fulfilled her magnetic Akasha code transmission on her second birthday, February 2nd, 12 BC. Like Jeshua, Marahari, Akari 3, Jeshua's Akaric twin, received her level 3 region ordination and Biveka code transmission on July 21, 13 BC, 1 month after her birth on June 21, 13 BC. The December 21, 12 BC Level 3 region ordination and soul birth of Avatar Jeshua represented the completion of the High Veka circle. The Akaric Trinity was fully incarnate on Earth in order to fulfill the Christos seeding mission, December 21. Celebrate. The three Grail King Melchizedek priests did not follow a star to Bethlehem to find baby Jeshua, as the legend is falsely told. Each of the three Grail Kings had been earlier approached by an Eoni priest of from Inner Earth named Mahahuetta, and told that their service was needed in Bethlehem on the winter solstice. Ma'a, as this was Eoni priest is often called, provided each of the three Grail Kings with the protected sacred knowledge of the access keys and Inner Earth portal locations that connected their lands to the Inner Earth portal of Bethlehem. The three kings became known as the three wise men within the Anunnaki falsified legends due to their knowledge of Earth's Templar Inner Earth portal locations and the Christos seeding mission. The three Grail Kings entered Bethlehem through the Inner Earth portal after sunset on December 21, 12 BC, and proceeded to the nearby house of Johias in Bethlehem Commons to fulfill their priestly duties in the regent ordination of infant Jeshua. The three kings did not at first realize that their portal entry into Bethlehem had been witnessed by a member of the Sadducee guard. It was Ma'a, whom had emerged from the portal to reset its security access template, that discovered the detection. When the Sadducees discovered the presence of the three Grail Kings in Bethlehem, they would alert Herod of Judea, and both would send their legions to hunt down the Indigo Avatar infant to whom the three kings were prophesied to attend. Ma'a observed the quick return of several Sadducee guards who were then posted to contain the area at which the three kings were reported to be seen. Sneaking past the guards undetected, Ma'a ran under the cloak of night to the house of Benjamin on the outskirts of Bethlehem as the three kings made their way safely to the house of Johias. Ma'a intended to devise a way by which the kings could escape from Bethlehem after attending to the soul birth of Jeshua, before Herod and the Sadducees discovered the location of Johias' house where the Indigos were hiding. The three Grail Kings priests arrived at the house of Johias after nightfall to meet Jeshua and John the Baptist. The process of Jeshua's regent ordination was completed by 9:45 p.m. Ma'a reached the house of Benjamin, informing Benjamin of the pending trouble and asking his assistance. Benjamin offered Ma'a his 2 camels and a donkey to serve as transportation by which the three kings could escape Bethlehem, in order to make the journey to the main Jerusalem Inner Earth portal, from which they could return to their homeland safe from Illuminati interference. Benjamin's nearly 12-year-old son, Emmanuel, Akari 2, volunteered to go with Ma'a to take the beast to the home of Johias in Bethlehem Commons. Ma'a and Emmanuel, posing as shepherds in search of missing flock, rode to Bethlehem Commons, bringing the beast to the stable of Johias. They entered the home of Johias around 9:15 p.m., just before Jeshua's regent ordination was complete, telling of the coming threat of Herod's and the Sadducees' guard and the need to lead the Grail Kings home by way of the Jerusalem portal. Ma'a planned to send Emmanuel to the stables of the inn, or the east side of Bethlehem Commons, the route the kings would take to emerge into the desert night undetected by the Sadducee Illuminati guard. Emmanuel was given a small skin drum by Johias and provided with 2 different drum beat codes, one meaning safe passage, the other guard warning. Emmanuel went ahead to the designated stable location to observe the activity of the Sadducee guard. When the area near the inn appeared clear of guards, Emmanuel beat out 1 round of the safe passage drum beat, which was heard by Ma'a, waiting at the house of Johias. Ma'a then led the 3 Grail kings upon the beast through the quiet streets of Bethlehem to the edge of the town in the east. Ma'a instructed the kings to ride into the desert by following the brightest star. The star that the 3 kings followed to escape from Bethlehem after tending to Jeshua was a Merkaba vehicle plasma ship, intentionally positioned by the Maharaji blue races of Sirius B. Ma'a had arranged through his constant telepathic link with Maharaji for the Star of Bethlehem Merkaba ship to appear to direct the Grail Kings to the appropriate desert area. The kings were instructed to wait in the desert for Ma'a's return the following evening, December 22nd, 12 BC, for escort to the Jerusalem inner earth portal. But Ma'a in the flesh could not return. So that's the story of the little drummer boy, right? Emmanuel playing the drums to safe passage. The star was actually a Merkaba vehicle from Sirius B by the Maharaji Blue Humans to escort the 3 Magi Grail Kings out after the completion, the celebration of the soul-braided walk-in for Jeshua 12. The real Christmas story. The little drummer boy, morning of morning, 12:16 a.m., December 22nd, 12 BC. Ma'a had led the 3 Grail Kings to the desert edge on the east of Bethlehem, as Emmanuel waited hiding in the stable by the inn, keeping guard over Ma'a's intended return path. Ma'a was to return to the stable to collect Emmanuel and safely return him to the house of Benjamin on the outskirts of Bethlehem before dawn. Emmanuel watched the inroad from the shadows of the stable, and Ma'a began his return from the desert edge as the 3 kings followed the star into the safety of the desert night. Suddenly, Emmanuel heard a clamoring of people coming down the old inn road. He was quick to identify them as the Sadducee guard, who had begun door-to-door raids in search of the kings and the Avatar infant. If Emmanuel did not warn Ma'a, Ma'a would be caught by the Sadducees as he returned to the stable. In hope of alerting Ma'a to the pending danger and diverting the Sadducees' attentions from the nearby home of Johias, Emmanuel, hidden in the stable, repeatedly beat out the guard warning drum beat upon his small skin drum. Hearing the odd drumming in the silent night, the Sadducees stopped their raids to trace the beating to its source. The Sadducees descended upon the inn stable just as Ma'a had returned, knowing Emmanuel was trapped within the stable and that his arrest and anticipated torture and interrogation by the Sadducees would bring Herod's suspicion down upon the houses of Benjamin and Johias. Ma'a attempted to create a diversion by running and yelling through the street. Ma'a dodged behind the stable and entered from the rear, hoping to lead Emmanuel out to safety in the direction opposite to the Sadducees' advance, but several Sadducees remained posted at the stable, saw Ma'a's entry and the awaiting boy. They hailed the return to the remaining guard. Ma'a and Emmanuel knew that they could not allow themselves to be captured by the Sadducees, because Emmanuel would be easily identified as a son of Benjamin, endangering all of the Indigo Grail Line families in Bethlehem. They had to find the means of escape. They refused the Sadducees' repeated demands of surrender, and the Sadducees began throwing their lit torches upon and within the inn stable. The small stable was quickly surrounded in flames. There was no point of escape for Ma'a and Emmanuel. Ma'a laid 11-year-old Emmanuel in the water through trough from which the stable beast had drunk, then lay his own large body atop of him, in hope of protecting the boy from the enroaching flames. Just before Ma'a lay down to cover the boy, he saw the roof beams of the stable glow red with flame and heard the whining crackle of their burden. Both Ma'a and Emmanuel knew at that moment that a new plan for fulfillment of the Christos seeding mission would be needed to be initiated. Both knew that their physical bodies would die that pre-dawn morning of December 22nd, 12 BC, and that both would need to return to complete their sacred part of the mission. Ma'a and Emmanuel left their bodies at will as they lie in the water trough manger just before the stable roof collapsed. They left their body at will. That's what Akaris can do. Just before the stable roof collapsed, consumed their physical vessels within the angry flames. Both died in peace, knowing that they had at least diverted the Sadducees' immediate attention away from the house of Johias, leaving time for baby Jeshua to be led to safety. The morning of December 22nd, 12 BC, from 12 a.m. to dawn is known as the Morning of Mourning. December 22nd, 12 BC, 12 a.m. is known as the Morning of Mourning. Among the Emerald Covenant races, in commemoration of the sacrifice of love made by Emmanuel, the little drummer boy, and Ma'a in their protection of Jeshua and commitment to the Christos seeding mission, the Morning of Mourning rapidly gave way to a celebration of eternal life, as December 22nd, 12 BC became the day of visitations through which the Christos seeding mission was at least partially completed. The 12th strand DNA for humanity was restored because of the beautiful, amazing sacrifice of the little drummer boy, Emmanuel, and Ma'a to protect Jeshua. The Shepherd of Light and Feast of the Golden Reef, Day of Visitations, dawn to dusk, December 22nd, 12 BC. Following the death of their physical bodies in the stable fire, Ma'a and Emmanuel transitioned to the spirit form with which they were most accustomed. The three Grail Kings, unaware of the tragedy, remained in the desert, awaiting Ma'a's return to guide them home through the Jerusalem inner earth portal. News of the stable fire spread throughout Bethlehem, reaching the house of Johias and Ben-Yumin by dawn. Emmanuel's mother and sister, Mary Jedra, entered a deep state of mourning, as did John the Baptist in the house of Johias. Grief is necessary. From their position in spirit form, Ma'a and Emmanuel received guidance from the founders to work together in keeping the Christos seeding mission on track. They were told to engage a series of spirit visitations beginning just after the dawn of December 22, 12 BC. So the spirit never dies. The spirit can leave the body and make visitations. Visitation 1. Ma'a and Emmanuel first appeared in physically tangible spirit form to Emmanuel's sister, Mary Jedra, at the house of Ben-Yumin on the outskirts of Bethlehem. Emmanuel told his grieving sister to mourn no more, that he would return, but for a little while he told Mary Jedra to bring her mother Saradi and father Ben-Yumin to the house of Johias on the evening of December 22nd, 12 BC, to wait in Bethlehem Commons before going to Johias' house, until they heard the special beating of a single drum. Mary Jedra's aging mother could not make the journey by foot, and the family's beasts of travel had all been given to Ma'a for the three kings on the evening before. Emmanuel told Mary Jedra to look into the grazing field, and there she saw a donkey appear in one moment, when it had not been there one moment before, a small miracle from Source God provided through the efforts of Ma'a and Emmanuel. Mary Jedra was also given by Emmanuel a set of small branches of golden sage, a healing plant grown only in the territories of inner earth. She was told to make a wreath of them as if a golden crown, and to give this gift to baby Jeshua when they arrived at the house of Johias that evening. Mary Jedra and her mother had fallen, and father began the short journey to the house of Johias at sundown. Visitation 2. After speaking with Mary Jedra on the early morning of December 22nd, 12 BC, Emmanuel and Ma'a in spirit form visited the three Grail King priests awaiting Ma'a's return in the desert. Ma'a told them of the stable fire and that they were to stay at a while in the desert until evening, when Ma'a would return to guide them to the Jerusalem inner earth portal. Visitation 3. Ma'a and Emmanuel next appeared in visitation to John the Baptist at the house of Johias. They told John to have Judai and Johias prepare a feast of celebration for the guests from the house of Ben-Yumin that would arrive that night. They also told John to prepare Judai to release baby Jeshua to the safekeeping of the Ioni priests, who would ensure his safe passage to the Ark of the Covenant at Giza, Egypt, for transmission of his Biveka codes between December 26, 12 BC and January 2, 11 BC. Emmanuel, in spirit form, handed John the Baptist a physical, tangible, small-skinned drum, like the one he had played in the stable. He told John to watch the evening sky for the second sign of the star, which would be shown by the Maharaji of Series B when they observed the family of Benjamin arriving in Bethlehem Commons. When John saw the star, he was to take the little drum to a field not far from the house of Johias and beat out one time the safe passage rhythm to let the family of Benjamin know that it was safe to come. The family of Benjamin arrived in Bethlehem Commons nearing 8:15 p.m. on December 22, 12 BC, as John the Baptist saw the second showing of the star appear and beat out the safe passage drumming. All gathered then at the house of Johias, where Judai had prepared a celebration feast as had been requested, though no one yet understood what the celebration was for. After the food and wine was shared, all sat gathered round the hearth, wondering for what they had been assembled. Visitation 4. Infant Jeshua slept sweetly in his mother Judai's arms when suddenly a pale gold and silver sphere of light appeared to the right side of Judai, startling everyone in the room save for Jeshua, who gently awoke from his sleep and smiled. The sphere of light stretched vertically to become a pillar of light, and the pillar of light then split into two pillars. As the family watched in wonder, two figures emerged into physical expression from the pillars of light before them. Emmanuel and Ma'a then stood in physically tangible form, encased in the pillars of light, together singing a sacred holy song. Son. P-S-O-N-N. When their song was through, Emmanuel spoke to his mother and sister, comforting their pain at his passing, and telling them that he would return in the year 11 AD as the son of John the Baptist. Ma'a then instructed Mary Jedra to place the golden wreath of sage that she had made upon the infant Jeshua's head. Ma'a then placed his large black hand upon the golden wreath, and for a moment the sage branches glowed with pale gold and silver light, sitting as a crown of light upon the infant's head. In his touch, Maha had transmitted the access security codes to the Ark of the Covenant portal passage at Giza into the DNA template of Jeshua, the codes that would allow him to conduct ascensions through the Ark of the Covenant when he reached manhood. I'll repeat that. In his touch, Maha had transmitted the access security codes to the Ark of the Covenant portal passage at Giza into the DNA template of Jeshua, the codes that would allow him to conduct ascensions through the Ark of the Covenant when he reached manhood. Emmanuel then told Judai that she must allow John the Baptist and Mary Jedra to take the infant Jeshua into the desert on the night of December 24, 12 BC, where he would be taken by an Ioni priest of to inner earth. From inner earth, Jeshua would be then taken to the Ark of the Covenant at Giza to transmit his Biveka code into Earth's Templar between December 26, 12 BC to January 2, 11 BC. Judai and Johias were told that the Ioni must keep Jeshua in inner earth with them until he turned the age of 12. If the child were not to be found and destroyed by the guard of Judea, Jeshua would be returned to them through John the Baptist in Saqqara, Egypt, when he turned 12 years of age. Damn, what a sacrifice. Judai and Johias understood, but were saddened at the coming loss of their son. Emmanuel then spoke and told them of the child that already lived within the womb of Judai. His name was to be Samuel, the brother of Jeshua, who would come to heal the loss of Jeshua. Ma'a and Emmanuel then dematerialized, instructing the family to burn the golden wreath within the fire, to release its frequency into their home to provide temporary protection. The Feast of the Golden Harvest wreath on the evening of December 22nd became a tradition among the Indigo Grail Line race of Earth since this time. Following the fourth visitation, Ma'a then revisited the three Grail kings awaiting him in the desert. Ma'a told them to set loose their beasts, bury their kingly goods, and to tear their clothes like beggars, so they might approach the city of Jerusalem as unassuming beggars. Ma'a again manifesting in tangibly physical form, taking on the image of an old shepherd, led the disguised kings to Jerusalem inner earth portal entrance, arriving a bit after dawn on December 23rd, 12 BC. The three kings safely passed to inner earth through the Jerusalem portals and returned to their respective homelands on December 24, 12 BC, with the commission of committing their knowledge into sacred writings among their cultures. In these writings, Ma'at became known as the Wayshower and the Shepherd of Light, the original Father Christmas, upon which later legends were built. On December 23rd, 12 BC, John the Baptist and his Akkadic twin Mary Jedra took infant Jeshua into the desert to meet the Eoni priest. On December 24, 12 BC, the Akkadic twins were married by the Eoni priest and told to stay 2 days in the desert for later instruction. On December 26, 12 BC, the Eoni priest brought infant Jeshua to the Ark of the Covenant at Giza, where his Biveka codes were transmitted into Urs Templar between December 26, 12 BC and January 2, 11 BC. Also on December 26, 12 BC, a group of 3 Eoni priests emerged from inner earth to bring the understanding of the Christos seeding mission to John and Mary Jedra. The priest explained that the Akashic code carried by Emmanuel had not been entered into Urs Templar as intended because Emmanuel's body had died prior to his Akar ordination, originally scheduled for January 1, 11 BC, which would have been Emmanuel's 12th birthday if he had not been killed in the stable fire on December 22, 12 BC. John and Mary Jedra, each carrying the DNA templates of an Akar and together representing fully incarnate Akari, could serve as parents of Emmanuel when he returned to fulfill his part in the Christos seeding mission. The only problem was that Mary Jedra was infertile and could not conceive a child. The founders, through their Eoni spokeswoman, asked John and Mary Jedra if they would sacrifice for just a little while the great comfort of their love and companionship, of which they had just rendered fulfilled in marriage. Mary Jedra would need to die in the flesh to rapidly be reborn and grow up to marry again John, a union through which the rebirth of Akar II Emmanuel could be complete to fulfill reseeding of the Akashic code into Urs Templar. With great sadness but devotion to the Christos seeding mission, John and Mary Jedra agreed. John was told to leave Mary Jedra in the desert, and on January 1, 11 BC, to look again for the third and last showing of the star, which would tell him that Mary Jedra had passed on. December 26, 12 BC became known as the Day of Revelation. On January 1st, 11 BC, Mary Jedra left her body to return to spirit form. On January 2nd, 11 BC, infant Jeshua completed full transmission of the Biveka Christos code into Urs Templar, and his stay in the Ark of the Covenant beneath the Great Pyramid of Giza came to an end. Jeshua was taken into inner earth and raised by the Eoni priests until he was returned to John the Baptist in Saqqara, Egypt, at the age of 12 years. January 2nd, 11 BC became known as the Festival of Light, the night of the Christos Mass, commemorating the return of the Biveka code and the Christiac potential to earth and its peoples. This day is considered the High Holy Day and true Christmas of the Emerald Covenant Indigo Grail Line races. On September 1, 5 BC, Mary Jedra was born to Judai and Ben-Yumin, whom had married following the death of Ben-Yumin's wife, Judai's sister Saradi. Mary Jedra returned in 5 BC as the albino female child named Miriam, maternal half-sister of Jeshua, who reincarnated in this lifetime as Ashia Nadine, former speaker number 1. Shout out. On December 24, 2010 AD, young Miriam was again married to her elder Akkadic twin John the Baptist Jonas in a ceremony performed by her older half-brother Jeshua. On December 21, 11 AD, Miriam gave birth to John's son Jeremiah Emmanuel, the return of Akar Emmanuel in the Akashic Code. The Akashic Code was re-entered into Urs Templar on January 1, 12 AD, fulfilling one of the two founders' objectives of the Christos seeding mission. Between 10 AD and 27 AD, the Nibirian, Anunnaki, and Galactic Federation broke their Emerald Covenant promises to the founders and proceeded to misdirect. Wasn't Jeshua's 9 fault. He was being misdirected by his cosmic ancestors, praying to quote-unquote the Father. Their Jeshua 9 Anunnaki D11 avatar, born 7 BC, and their Hyksos Illuminati hybrids into their original Luciferian Covenant, One World Order, Illuminati Dominion agenda. One World Order, Klaus Schwab, 2030, which culminated Luciferian Covenant, One World Order, which culminated in the 27 AD event known as the Essene Divide. But because of the partial success of the Christ period Christos seeding mission, the High Vecca codes were reset in Earth Templar to allow for the fulfillment of the planetary Christos realignment mission in our contemporary 2000 AD to 2017 AD stellar activation cycle. The story of the High Veccas is the real story of Christmas, and it is the celebration of the return of the Earth Christos divine blueprint and humanity's final freedom from the fallen angelic forces of Phantom Matrix. The dates of December 21, 12 BC through January 2, 11 BC became known as the 12 days of Christos Mas, December 21 to January 12. The 12 days of Christos Mas, each day representing the activation of the Bivecca code. Some people see it as a Vesica Pisces code within one of the 12-strand DNA templates of the infant Jeshua. The 12 days of Christmas culminate in the Christos Mas Festival of Light of January 2nd. Since the time of the Christ period, the Christos Mas has been the celebration of the Christos awakening that was long scheduled to take place on January 2nd, 2002 AD, when the Bivecca code would reach critical mass and begin its activation cycle in Earth's Templar, initiating the fulfillment of the planetary Christos realignment mission intended to complete on December 21, 2012 AD. The real Christmas story will reach its final chapters in our contemporary times. That's why I say the story of Jesus is just getting started. As the Team Indigo Grail Line races, the 144,000 return to fulfill their part in the Christos planetary Christos realignment mission. So the inner Christos reclamation mission is still going. These Akars, twin pairs, have vowed to reincarnate over and over and over again. The Bivecca code was dropped in. Jeshua 12 received temporary activation code in the Christ timeline, obviously in the stellar activation cycle 2000 to 2017 AD, which they were preparing for, did not fully occur. And so this is a continuation of the inner Christos reclamation mission. And you are who you've been looking for. And the Ekars, can activate the 144,000 DNA, and it's a continuous mission, right? And so the Bivecca code, right? And then there's a Trivecca code. And in Montségur, France, I dropped in the Trivecca code. In Ibiza, we were told that the 12-strand DNA potential for humanity has been restored. So it's a continuation of this mission, and we are who we've been looking for. And the inner Christos reclamation mission is still on. And so planetary grid work is such a sacred joy and responsibility. And it's the highest form of service to the prana of Mother Earth, to restore the codes, to restore the tribal shields, to restore the DNA activation as Mother Earth's children are intimately connected, and the 12 stargates, the 12 original celestial human tribes, may they reunite. We walk by faith, not by sight. And shout out to Asya Nadine for transcribing this through. Shout out to all the sacrifices that were made for Emmanuel, Mary Jedra, John the Baptist. And, in one of my ceremonies not too long ago, Michael Dean, who was former speaker number 2, came to me in a vision and was clapping and clapping and clapping. I'm a man on a mission, jumpstart that ignition, redline that ambition, don't need no permission. Everything is the lesson, blessing, and an opportunity. And the inner Christos reclamation mission is still on, and we are who we've been waiting for. And this is the lifetime many of us have waited for. Love, light, peace, and truth to all sentient beings. Happy, holy days. And from December 21 through January 2nd, just take a pause, a sacred pause, and remember the true Christmas story of all the love and the sacrifice that was made to restore the eternal life potential for humanity. It's resurrection time. Peace.